Hey, welcome back to Digging into the Bible. This week we're taking a look at Genesis chapter 16 and a story about Sarai and her servant Hagar. Now, Sarai, Abram's wife, had borne him no children. This has been a point of contention. This has been an issue for a while. We had this whole vision and promise that God is reinforcing and helping Abram to be comfortable with. So this continues to be kind of a theme here. She had a female servant, an Egyptian servant, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said to Abram, "Behold, now the Lord has prevented me from bearing children. Go into my servant. It may be that I shall obtain children by her." So Sarai is offering up and saying, you know what, maybe how God is going to solve this is that since he's not allowing me to have children, that I will have children, but through Hagar. Are we all seeing the trouble coming? I mean, there's no possible way this is going to go well. And yet, this is the solution. Now, Abram, if he was in his right mind at this point, would say, let's trust God. God's made a promise. I've just had this great vision. God has shown me, explained to me in detail that I can trust him. So what's Abram's response? And Abram listened to the voice of Sarai. Abram should have listened to the voice of God. Instead, he's listening to the voice of Sarai. So after Abram had lived 10 years in the land of Canaan, Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, the Egyptian, her servant, and gave her to Abram, her husband, as a wife. And he went into Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, she looked with contempt on her mistress. And Sarai said to Abram, "May the wrong done to me be on you. I gave you my servant to your embrace, and when she saw that she had conceived, she looked on me with contempt. May the Lord judge between you and me." But Abram said to Sarai, "Behold, your servant is in your power. Do to her as you please." Then Sarai dealt harshly with her, and she fled from her. Was this predictable? Was this almost just kind of obvious that the wheels would fall off of this plan? Yes, and almost immediately it happens. Not almost immediately, pretty much immediately. "Hey, here, husband, take my servant. Have a child with her. It'll be great. No problem. Except you're forgetting the human emotions involved. Abram's, Sarai's, Hagar's. Wasn't even a consideration of Hagar as a person and the fact that she would look down upon and kind of say, look, God has blessed me with the child that he hasn't blessed you with. Well, and that's not going to sit well with Sarai. Here's my servant thinking better of herself than she thinks of me. I'm the important one. I'm the true wife. I gave you to her as if she's a wife, but not really. You treated her that way. You had conceived a child with her, but no. So of course this falls apart. Of course this doesn't work. And Abram is like, look, don't, in a sense, it's like, don't put this on me. Look, if you want to deal with it, Sarah, you deal with it. She's under your control. You do with her as you want. So she treats her harshly, drives her away. The angel of the Lord, verse 7, the angel of the Lord found her by a spring. So finds Hagar by a spring of water in the wilderness, the spring on the way to Shur. And he said, Hagar, servant of Sarai, where have you come from, and where are you going? She said, I am fleeing from my mistress Sarai. The angel of the Lord said to her, return to your mistress and submit to her. The angel of the Lord also said to her, I will surely multiply your offspring, so that they cannot be numbered for multitude. And the angel of the Lord said to her, behold, you are pregnant, and shall bear a son. You shall call his name Ishmael, because the Lord has listened to your affliction. He shall be a wild donkey of a man. Boy, that doesn't quite sound like a compliment. I mean, he's strong, headstrong. Sounds like he's trouble coming. But hey, his hand against everyone, and everyone's hand against him, and he shall dwell over against all his kinsmen. Yeah, he's going to be a handful. So she called the name of the Lord, who spoke to her, you are a God of seeing. For she said, truly, here I have seen him who looks after me. Therefore, the well was called Bir Lai Roy. It lies between Kadesh and Bered. And Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram called the name of his son, whom Hagar bore Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to Abram. 86 years old. He's finally got his child, but oh, what a dumb way to do it. What a whole lot of trouble coming. And they haven't seen the half of the trouble. Ishmael is going to be a handful. That's what God is pointing out to the angel. Gives the word of the Lord. Yes, you're going to have a son. A wild donkey of a son. I'm not sure that's what I would want to hear as an expectant mother. But the confidence given, confidence in the sense that God is going to be looking out for them. And Hagar recognizes and returns and at the direction of the Lord's angel submits to her mistress and her master and returns to their household so that they can be cared for, so they can, so that she is able to have this child. Abram gives the name Ishmael as God commanded to his son. And there it is, 86 years old, and he finally has a son. And not only that, you're going to see that there is a nation that comes out of Ishmael, just the same as God's promise that a nation will come out of another offspring of his that he hasn't had yet. So, kind of creates some trouble, but God is still standing by. God is still offering blessings. Um, just not the best way to handle it here. And, Abram choosing to listen to his wife when he should be listening to God. And it doesn't mean, guys, you don't need to listen to your wives, um, but not in the substitute for listening to God. There are moments when you need to say, yeah, but the Lord is the one guiding this ship. And the hope is that husbands and wives together, we're seeking the Lord's blessing together so that we're able to understand what it is that God would have us to do, that we're both able to lead jointly with God's blessing in following his direction. Not quite what was handled here. The descendants of Ishmael and Abram's other descendants, they will have interactions over the years, and often it won't be pretty. Anyway, we're going to pause here and jump back into chapter 17 next week. God bless.